Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Hey. Krishna, 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 Rakshamam. Krishna, 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 Pahimam. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshamam. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahimam. So I trust everyone's got Krishna book with them now. Yeah, we're ready to go. We've got a couple of devotees who are volunteering to read. So Jay Prakash is first, Sashi is second. Anyone else like to read? Yeah, you could put number 3, 4 in the chat box for reading. And I had one idea. I saw it in another group, and I thought I'm doing that for my group too. And as we were reading and discussing, or in that other group, reading and discussing, they were writing like comments in the chat box, like, you know, key things which they like learned or wanted to share. And then at the end, we kind of went through the reflections, because sometimes I ask at the end, like, is there any thoughts, any reflections, any key things? And you can hear the tumbleweeds going. So if you have any thoughts, feel free to just drop them in the chat box for everyone's benefit.
We do that on Sunday Bhagavad Gita class. So chat box, you know, like questions, answers. Sometimes he also asks questions. People post answers on the chat box. And
yeah, we can use it for questions, answers too. Yeah, I'm not very attentive with the chat box because I'm trying to read and think and put my points together as well. But if anyone, feel free just to, you know, shout or say, you know, there's a question or comment or something in there. So we can at the end like go through the questions and comments, you know.
I mean, ours is a pretty small group, so it's not too bad to disturb whilst we're sort of reading, so it's not too bad, or after you finish a paragraph. I mean, the Sunday group is like 40 people, so obviously you have to manage that, otherwise it just becomes a chaos.
Yeah. So yeah, do take the opportunity to comment and question, even in the chat box. But of course, best thing is in person. So at the end of the paragraphs when we discuss, just feel free to speak up. Don't be shy. There's nothing like a bad question. I'm sure it benefits everybody, whatever thoughts you have or what you want to share. Okay. So let's begin then. Chapter 26, Wonderful Krishna.
Okay. Chapter 26, Wonderful Krishna. Without understanding the intricacies of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without knowing his uncommon spiritual opulences, the innocent cowherd boys and men of Vrindavan began to discuss his wonderful activities, which surpassed the activities of all men. One of them said, "My dear friends, considering his wonderful activities, how is it possible that such an uncommon boy would come and live with us in Vrindavan? It is really not possible. Just imagine. He is now only 7 years old. How is it possible for him to lift Govardhan Hill in one hand, hold it up just as a king of elephants holds a lotus flower? To lift a lotus flower is an insignificant thing for an elephant. And similarly, Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill without exertion. When he was simply a small baby and could not even see properly, he killed the great demon Putna while sucking her breast. He also sucked out her life air. Krishna killed the Putna demon exactly as eternal time kills a living creature in due course. When he was only 3 months old, he was sleeping underneath a hand-driven cart. Being hungry for his mother's breast, he began to cry and throw his leg upwards. And from the kicking of his small feet, the cart immediately broke apart and fell to pieces. When he was Only 1 year old, he was carried away by Trinavarta demon, disguised as a whirlwind. And although he was taken very high in the sky, he simply hung on the neck of the demon, forced him to fall down from the sky and immediately die. Once his mother, being disturbed by his stealing butter, tied him to a wooden mortar, and the child pulled it toward a pair of trees known as Yamla Arjuna and caused them to fall once. When he engaged in tending the cows in the forest, along with his elder brother Balram, a demon named Bakasura appeared, and Krishna at once bifurcated the demon's beak. When the demon known as Vatsasura entered amongst the cows tended by Krishna with a desire to kill him, he immediately detected the demon, killed him, and threw him into a tree. When Krishna, along with his brother Balram, entered the Talavana forest, the demon known as Denu Kasura, in the shape of an ass, attacked them and was immediately killed by Balram, who caught his hind legs and threw him into a palm tree. Although the Denu Kasura demon was assisted by his cohorts, also in the shape of asses, all were killed, and the Talavana forest was then opened for the use of the animals and inhabitants of Vrindavan. When Pralambasura entered amongst Krishna's cowherd boys, Krishna caused him to be killed by Balram. Thereafter, Krishna saved his friends and cows from severe forest fire. He chastised the Kalya serpent in the lake of Yamuna river, forced him to leave the vicinity of the Yamuna. He thereby made the water of Yamuna poisonless.
So there's like 11 or 12 different pastimes here, which are outlined. Yeah. So do you remember all of these? There's quite a lot there. Is there any that you don't remember? We could just quickly highlight some of them. Maybe we can all help each other out here, because those of you who remember can remind those who don't. Yeah. Who remembers the Putna pastime? A couple of sentences, and just literally two sentences, 2-3 sentences.
Putna came to basically wanting to kill Krishna, but by offering her milk, obviously she became like a mother as well. So Krishna took that as a motherly sort of love, and basically, although he killed her, but she obviously got into going into back to Godhead. So
yeah, that's a really key point, actually. Yeah, so the pastime concluded in that way, that she went back to the spiritual world. Yeah, because Krishna, this was cited as an example of how Krishna is most merciful, because even someone who tried to kill him, he accepted her as a mother. Yeah, that's a wonderful point. And then the next one is the hand-driven cart. Krishna smashed a hand-driven cart. Does anyone remember that pastime? So this happened when Krishna was having his, not his naming ceremony, it was one of his ceremonies. It was his first birthday, I think, right? If I'm not mistaken. It was one particular ceremony. It wasn't his first birthday. It always says he's 3 months old here. So yeah, I can't remember. There was a particular ceremony. So, so everyone was very busy in Vrindavan because the ceremony was happening, and there was a ghost or that kind of creature was like in a cart bearing weight, and it was going to fall upon Krishna. But Krishna knew this, of course. Even as a baby, he was God. It wasn't that he had to become God, and so he smashed that cart. He was completely fine. Then the next one is the Trinavarta. Does anyone remember Trinavarta, the whirlwind?
So Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So he took him right high up in the sky. You can see Krishna's only a little baby, but he's so strong. I mean, and he brought him back down again. So this portrays his personality, because the world must have thought he's a little baby. I can take him high and try and kill him, but through the wind, but he couldn't.
Yeah, that's right. So this whirlwind Trinavarta, he had a lot of mystic powers, but Krishna had more mystic powers. So Krishna became very heavy, and he couldn't hold Krishna any longer, and so he fell to the ground. So yeah, that's right. And after that, slightly different kind of pastime here, which is the stealing of butter. Anyone know about that one?
That's around Damodara stuck, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. So what was the miraculous aspect of that pastime?
Oh, there's a few. One is that he liberated the two trees. I think, is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
The two trees. That's, and the other one I would say is when Yashoda Mata's trying to run after him. Or is it binding him, and then the rope? She can't fit the rope around him. I think.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So Krishna couldn't be bound until Mother Yashoda proved her love. Then he became merciful and allowed her to. And then after that, being tied, he was able to pull down these two enormous trees. He wanted to free himself, so he was pulling himself through the gap in the trees. And consequently, the trees fell over rather than the rope breaking. So they were remembering that all the cowherd men are having a discussion here about all these miraculous activities of Krishna. They're a little bit concerned about Krishna. The next one mentioned is Bakasura. Okay, so now remember who he is. In the form of a bird, stork. In the form of a stork.
I can't remember what he tried to do, but I remember how Krishna pulled his two beaks apart. I don't know how the demon, I can't remember how the demon was trying to attack Krishna.
So he, like all these demons, is basically a mystic. He's a mystic who had a lot of powers. So he had this ability to shape shift. He could change his form. So he was the brother of Trinavarta and Putna. Yeah. So he wanted to get revenge. So he came in the form of a bird, flew into Vrindavan, and he tried to, poke Krishna with his beak, basically, and his friends. So, and then Krishna, as it says, is bifurcated, so he tore his beak apart. Yeah. The next one is Vatsasura. Yeah. So I don't know if this wasn't like elaborate, this pastime, it was just quite a small, short one. Does anyone remember Vatsasura pastime? This is basically a demon who came in the form of a calf, disguised himself. We all know that how calves are so dear to Krishna, isn't it? So, you know, imagine your like enemy coming in the form of a friend, in the form of someone you love. This was a tendency of Bakasura. Yeah. So very what's the word? Manipulative, or, you know, treacherous, isn't it? To come in the form of someone who you love. The next one is Denu Kasura. Denu Kasura is quite a well-known demon, right?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
You know the Vatsasura
Yeah.
demon? Is that the pastime just before the Radha Kund and Shyam Kund came about?
No, that's a different demon. That's actually not in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't think that pastime is in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Is it in here, Krishna?
No, because this is a commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam, so it's not in here. But that's a well-known pastime as well. That's I've forgotten the name of that demon. But you raised an interesting point that, you know, there's actually many pastimes that are not even in here. There's so many more pastimes. I actually said that there was a demon coming every day, you know, but Sukadeva Goswami just summarized a few of them. Aristasura is the name of that demon.
Yeah.
And he came in the form of a bull.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Denu Kasura is the next one listed here.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So basically Denu Kasura, obviously he came as an ass, in the forest when Krishna and all the his friends and Balram and going, and also obviously Balram killed Denu Kasura, but is that, I might be wrong, but is it the only, Denu Kasura is the only demon Balram killed?
It's a good guess. Yeah. Balaram did kill Denu Kasura, that's right. But the next one mentioned is also killed by Balaram, as it said here.
Yeah.
So yeah, Denu Kasura was like a donkey, yeah? And he was basically like a hoarding kind of person. He took charge of a whole forest, out of the 12 forests. Talavan, he took charge of that. And no one else could go there. You know, the animals couldn't go in there and have the fruits. So Krishna finished him off. Balaram finished him off, rather. And Krishna finished off his friends. So the next one mentioned is who?
Pralambasura.
Right. Does anyone remember that story? It begins with a wrestling match.
Yes. Did somebody give somebody gave him a piggyback ride? Oh no, he was giving, the demon was giving one of the brothers a piggyback ride, but they just became heavier and heavier for him. Is that the one?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So they had this game where they go into two teams and they sit on piggyback and they wrestle. But in this case, Pralambasura decided to walk off with Balaram on his shoulders instead of participating in the game. And Balaram just, does it say here what he did? Does anyone remember what he did? He just clouted him in the head. He gave him a punch in the head. And that was the end of Pralambasura. And then there's a couple more. Then there was the fire demon, sent by Kamsa also. And how did Krishna save his friends from the fire?
He sucked it all in.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we've heard of fire breathing, right? People who breathe fire. This is like the inverse of that, isn't it? Krishna sucking in the fire instead of breathing out fire. Yeah. He told all the boys to close their eyes, and then he just breathed in all the fire. And finally, we have the last one is
Kaliya serpents.
right. Okay. Kali is very famous. So what's the story?
So I could be wrong, but Kaliya went to the river Yamuna because he couldn't be in one of the other rivers.
Hmm.
And then
Yes.
I don't know if the Rajvasis or someone couldn't go go to the Yamuna River because they were scared of him. I'm not sure about that. And then
Anyone else remember? No one else know?
A couple of their, I think it was friends, they fell unconscious or they died anyway, but Krishna's glance just rose them back up again. So he just knew that, yeah, he had to tell Kalia to disappear from the place.
Yeah. He touched upon an important point that Krishna didn't kill him, isn't it? Archana Mataji, did you want to add something? I could see that you were trying to chime in then.
So as long as I remember, Hare Krishna, the Kalia made the Yamuna's water poisonous,
Yes.
and no one could drink or use the water. And once Krishna and his friend were playing with the balls, and ball gone into the water, and no one was ready to get the ball, and then Krishna jumped in, and there where he had fight with Kalyanag, and then Kalya's wives beg him to leave the Kalya and not kill him, and then Kalya left the Yamuna river, and the river water became pure.
Krishna magically made it all pure again. That was a very nice summary. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So he was the one who got away, Kaliya snake, because of the prayers of the devoted wives. So thank you everyone for sharing all of those memories of our reading of Krishna book. So, anyone have any thoughts, reflections overall? I had one thought. Sometimes devotee parents, they get very concerned about introducing Krishna pastimes to the children. Can you imagine why?
I think it's because it's all like Krishna's killing all these demons, and so that might scare children or
scare them. I think it excites them too much. So dangerous, parents say, like the pastimes are so dangerous, also aggressive. Krishna just kills everyone. And Krishna's like, so then the kids think, yeah, Krishna's so tough. I want to be like Krishna. I'm going to be tough. So what's the solution? How do we understand actually in the right context? How do we free ourselves from this kind of childish mentality? But these pastimes are all just aggressive and dangerous. Because this could be anyone who says this, right? We could be talking to some friend and they might have heard a little bit about Krishna and they think, why does Krishna do all these things? And it doesn't stop there. Then it goes on in the Mahabharata, in the Ramayana, the Shingadev Leela, you name it.
I don't know, maybe maybe because or maybe before introduce, or I don't know, speak to someone about these pastimes. Maybe is it important for them to know? Okay, basically about Krishna, also them to know that he's not an ordinary person, and that's why he can do things like that. But we obviously can't do it, especially in kids' case. I don't know.
Yeah, Krishna's, as it says in the beginning here, his activities are extraordinary, isn't it? Uncommon. Yeah. Uncommon spiritual opulences. A few times it said his wonderful activities, uncommon. Yeah, definitely can't be imitated. Yeah. I just noticed Priti has a hand up.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I just wanted to ask, why was it that the Radhakund and the Arishtasura pastimes not mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavad that Srila Prabhupada wrote, or passed down?
So it's not mentioned by Shukadev Goswami in the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Oh, okay.
That's why Srila Prabhupada doesn't narrate that story.
Okay.
Yeah, so you won't find that story in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah.
How comes? Do we know why he didn't narrate it? And then where is this pastime come about from?
Yeah, there's so many pastimes which are not in the Srimad Bhagavatam. There's so many. Krishna had pastimes every single day. So Sukadeva Goswami, he couldn't narrate every single activity of Krishna. He focused on the essential ones. Not the essential ones, but he focused on the ones, I guess, what maybe they are the more essential ones. He focused on those ones, because Shukadeva Goswami is narrating Srimad Bhagavatam in 7 days. He's got to finish the whole Srimad Bhagavatam. So he's kind of cherry picking the key things which he wants to teach his disciple Parikshit Maharaj. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess Parikshit Maharaj was asking questions, and based on those questions, he was giving the leelas as well.
Yes, that's right. That's really important point as well. So because it was an exchange, it was an exchange that they were having. It was a conversation. It was questions and answers. So this is really important because discussion can only really expand and develop when there's that inquisitiveness from the hearer, and the knowledge of the speaker. So that both has to be there. So someone may know everything, like Shukadeva Goswami, but then if the hearer is not is not receptive, then they won't get so much from it. Like there's a whole chapter that came about with which one was it? The Bakasura pastime, right? So Shukadeva Goswami, he asked about why it was there was a question that was asked, like what happened in the 1 year.
Yeah.
Why did the Agasura pastime not get told for 1 year? I think that was a question.
Yeah, there was.
Because the boys were away for 1 year, they were with Lord Brahma for 1 year, and then when they came back again to the Krishna Leela, like the Agasura thing, it seemed like it was just yesterday to them. So only that day, when they came back, they were telling about what happened with Agasura, even though a whole year had passed while they were away with Brahma. So it was only because of the question of Sukadeva Goswami, of Maharaj Parikshit, that that came, that pastime. Otherwise, it would have been sidelined, like so many pastimes were not mentioned. Yeah. And that's why there's so many different literatures of Krishna's pastimes. Of course, we follow the ones which have been given to us by our acharyas, our spiritual masters, not because there's so many unauthorized ones as well. So we have to be careful who we hear from, who we hear these pastimes from, that they're actually genuine pastimes. So just taking a step back, so people ask, you know, Krishna's pastimes are so violent, you know, for children, they find them very violent. So the underlying principle, at least from my understanding, and maybe Sachinarayan Prabhu Madhvi Mataji kindly correct me if it's wrong, is Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the chapter 4, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chuduskritam dharma samsthapanataya sambhavam yuga yuga. Krishna says that I come to protect the innocent people, to destroy the demonic people, and to establish religious principles, age after age. Krishna has this mission, he comes with a mission. So I taught my daughter this verse, actually. It was one of the first Bhagavad Gita verses she learned. And so when she gets in this mood of like, you know, Krishna's the hero, and, you know, she picks up her gada or bow and arrow to be Lord Ram, I have to remind her, you know, there's a reason why Krishna did all these things. Why? Because Krishna wants to protect his devotees. That's the essential principle. Krishna has to go to such extents to protect his devotees. Such an extent he has to go to protect his devotees. And he's showing them, look, I'm protecting you. So,
And also, I just my realization as well while I was just reflecting, even though my memory is really bad, but you know, each pastimes Krishna is describing, and like, you know, all the demons he kills, but there's always and then there's always like big teaching kind of a lesson for us as so that's really interesting. I mean, you just keep reading and reading, and every time you read, and you just find something different, isn't it? It's amazing.
yeah, this is one of the most beautiful things about Srimad Bhagavatam,
Yeah.
about Krishna book. Yeah. I've read a few times this Krishna book. And yeah, every time I read it, it's just like, wow, I didn't know. Wow, I didn't know. There's always something more. Yeah. And all of the acharyas, they give so many other additional lessons as well. There's so much insight, so much depth. So
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I like to share my realization
Please. Yeah,
from all these pastimes. Krishna has got a free will, and we have got free will as well, right? But difference is we are given free will by Krishna, and he has got a free will by his own will. So we are limited, he's unlimited. And that's why he could do anything.
Yeah. So all of these pastimes, they're showing how people have misused their free will, huh?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? Like Krishna is showing his free will is always there, but when the free will is misused, then all kind of problems happen. Krishna has to correct.
He's clever. He has given us a free will, but still we are restricted, limited.
Yeah. Because all these so-called demons, actually eternally everyone is Krishna's devotee in the spiritual sense. The soul is part of Krishna. Krishna's given all those souls, given all of us souls, this free will. But some of these souls have gone to such an extent to become hateful of Krishna, isn't it? And Krishna has to bring them back in line again. So that's a really a good way of seeing it, actually.
Yeah.
And as well as when Krishna was there, here on the planet, there, the demons were external, and everybody could see them. But now in the Kali Yuga, all the demons are within us, and we can't recognize them time to time.
Yeah.
That's why we are suffering, you know. If we could recognize which demon is there, we would sort it out or pray to Krishna. Please come, like coward boys were always asking Krishna to help. Then the demons are there and Krishna can help. So that's my realization. We have to find the demons in ourselves, that which demon is acting at what time and circumstances and situation.
Wow. Yeah. So in the previous times there were a few big demons, isn't it? But these days there's like many little demons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
why
of course, when
Prabhupada
we say
said
this, we
there's
use this word very loosely, isn't it? And it's gone, demon. We're saying it doesn't mean like a guy with like two little horns, you know, a pointy tail and a fork. It just means like unwanted qualities. It just means anartha, someone who has unwanted quality, someone who's using the free will in the wrong way, in a way that's degenerating, isn't it? As Mataji was explaining, if we read these pastimes and it helps us identify what unwanted qualities we have within us. And then we can really call out to Krishna. We can really chant nicely. Really develop love in our heart and compassion. Is that right, Mataji? Is that what you... Yeah. Okay, then shall we move on to the next one? Yeah, thanks everyone. Everyone's been sharing such wonderful thoughts. Nice reflections. Who's the next reader now? Shashi Mataji is next.
Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna.
Another one of the friends of Nanda Maharaja said, "My dear Nanda, we do not know why we are so attracted to your son Krishna. We want to forget him, but this is impossible. Why are we so naturally affectionate towards him? Just imagine how wonderful it is. On one hand, he is only a boy of 7 years, and on the other hand, there is a huge hill like Govardhan Hill, and he lifted it so easily. Oh, Nanda Maharaja, we are now in great doubt. Your son Krishna must be one of the demigods. He is not at all an ordinary boy. Maybe he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead."
So any thoughts or reflections on this? Any questions? Why is it the Gopas are feeling in this way that they're so attracted to Krishna? At the same time, there's great doubt.
They finally realize, haven't they, that he's not just an ordinary boy?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like it's always been there in the background, right? For 7 years, Krishna's been every day doing extraordinary things. Yeah. So it's like, it's dawned upon them that, every day, this can't be normal. So yeah. But still, they don't recognize him completely as a Supreme Lord, no?
No, they're getting there though.
Yeah. So there's a reason as well. Why don't they acknowledge Krishna as a Supreme Lord? Pretty has a hand up. Pretty, you don't have to put your hand up if you want. You can speak up.
Thanks.
Polite.
Why don't they? Is it got something to do with when he had his Namkaran ceremony or something like that? Just I'm not sure exactly where my connecting part there is there. But I was just going to comment on this paragraph. It's like they start off with that we don't know why we're so attracted to him, and when naturally affectionate, and then towards the end, after thinking maybe he's a demigod or something, they say maybe he is the Supreme Personality. So yeah, they just they realize that they're naturally attracted to him, but they don't know why. It's like so affectionately. Yeah.
Yeah, you've hit upon the right point. and it's going to be discussed actually more in the next paragraph. So if we proceed, Shashi, if you want to read on,
Yes.
then that will reveal some more.
On hearing the praises of the cowherd men in Vrindavan, King Nanda said, "My dear friend, in reply to you, I can simply present the statement of Ganga Muni so that your doubts may be cleared. When he came to perform the name-giving ceremony, he said that this boy descends in different periods of time, in different colors, and that this time he has appeared in Vrindavan in a blackish color, known as Krishna. Previously, he had a white color, then a red color, then a yellow color. He also said that this boy was once the son of Vasudeva, and everyone who knows of his previous birth calls him Vasudeva. Actually, he said that my son has many varieties of names according to his different qualities and activities. Gargasaya assured me that this boy would be all auspicious for my family and that he would be able to give transcendental blissful pleasure to all the cowherd men and cows in Vrindavan. Even though we would be put into various kinds of difficulties by the grace of this boy, we would be very easily freed from them. He also said that formerly this boy saved the world from an unregulated condition, and he saved all honest men from the hands of the dishonest thieves. He also said that any fortunate man who becomes attached to this boy, Krishna, is never vanquished or defeated by his enemy. On the whole, he is exactly like Lord Vishnu, who always takes the side of the demigods, who are consequently never defeated by the demons. Gargasura thus concluded that my child would grow to be exactly like Vishnu in transcendental beauty, qualification, activities, influence, and opulence, and so he should not be very astonished by his wonderful activities. After telling me this, Bakasura returned home, and since then we have been continually seeing the wonderful activities of this child. According to the version of Gargasura, I consider that he must be Narayan himself, or maybe a plenary portion of Narayan.
So, does anyone remember who Garga Muni is?
Is he the Acharya that given Krishna's name, or is it the Acharya for the whole family? Yeah.
Yeah, so Gargacharya, he's a royal priest, and he's very well known. He's an Acharya, which means he's very well known. It means he's like a really well established guru in the whole kingdom. So, and he personally came to do the ceremony for Krishna, the naming ceremony, Namkaran, as was mentioned. So why is Nanda Maharaj relating this to kind of satisfy the doubts of all his friends? Because their question was, why are we so attracted to Krishna? And why is he doing all these superhuman things?
I think he was just saying, well, according to his Kunmi, this is, his background. And so, yeah, maybe this is the reason why you're so attracted to him, because he thinks that maybe he's, like he said it right at the end, that like he might be Narayan himself, or maybe even Venerable portion. So that question they had, maybe he's Supreme Personality of Godhead is just saying, so according to all of this that was given, yeah, he could be, or yeah, he could be.
So he's giving a very factual kind of answer, isn't it? He's like, look, we did his birth chart, and on there it said he's as good as God. So he's just giving a very straightforward kind of like answer, huh? So he has a very confidential, it's a very confidential conversation he's having, actually. Because when Garga Muni came, he came in secret to give the naming ceremony to Krishna. Do you remember where they did the naming ceremony for Krishna?
In the
Sorry, we're just on mute, Mataji.
in the cowshed.
In the cowshed, yeah. So they were hiding in a barn, in the cowshed, and doing a naming ceremony, which is normally done very elaborately, and everyone gets dressed up and stuff. But it was very secretive. So it was intentionally done that way because Krishna's identity wasn't to be revealed. But here, Nanda Maharaj, he's telling them something very confidential, what was predicted by this Acharya in the cowshed at that time. Okay.
Just a question. Did Garga Muni know that Krishna was Vasudeva and Devki's son at that time?
Yeah, he was their priest, so he knew, yeah. So he knew fully that Krishna was the Supreme Lord. He was not just a priest, but he was also an astrologer. So he could read like birth charts and that kind of thing. So he knew just from reading the chart of Krishna that he was Supreme Lord. But even he didn't tell Nanda Maharaj directly. He said that your son is as good as Narayan. So, and for anyone knows that means that no one can be as good as Narayan, because the definition of God is one who has no equal and no competitor. If anyone ever wants to know how to define God, Prabhupada would say that God means one who has no equal and no competitor at any time. So, but Garga Muni, he said he's as good as Narayan. So it's kind of like a contradictory statement he told him, right? Because that basically means that he is Narayan. Because there's no one who can be equal to Narayan anyway. There's no one that can be as good as him anyway, or come close. So it was kind of the language that was used. And the clue is also in the name that he gave to this little boy, which is
Krishna.
And what does Krishna mean?
All attractive.
All attractive. So they're saying this boy is all attractive. Why are we so attracted to him? Well, it's in his name. The priest gave him that name. So Krishna is all attractive. He was so attractive, they were attracted to him more than their own sons, more than their own children. Yeah, they loved him that much more. That's extraordinary. Yeah, so they were puzzled by this kind of like love, So that's why they're, after so long, they're approaching Nanda Maharaj. Like they kind of got that courage to come to him and say, "We just love your son so much. What is it about him? Tell us." So let's finish this with the last paragraph now. Just notice Priti's written question in the chat box. Did you want to ask a question, Priti?
No, that was the question on Gargamuni. Thank you.
Did I answer it or did someone answer it for you?
No, you did answer. Thank you, Guru.
Okay. Shamarani, what did you want to read?
Krishna?
Or is it Hare Krishna?
Yeah. Also, I notice Gargamuni he has compared Krishna with Lord Vishnu by his qualities.
Yeah. Could you just share where that is so that we can all pick up on it?
Gargacharya thus concluded that my child will grow to be exactly like Vishnu in a transcendental beauty, qualification, activity, influence, and opulence. So
we should not be very astonished by his wonderful activities.
Yeah. That's right. So you can see how very plainly he just was just straightforward. They asked a question, he gave a straight answer. Isn't it? Right there. Okay. Shamrani Mataji, over to you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. When all the cowherd men very attentively heard the statements of Gargacharya through Nanda Maharaj, they better appreciated the wonderful activities of Krishna and became very jubilant and satisfied. They began to praise Nanda Maharaj because he consulting him their doubts about Krishna were cleared. They said, "Let Krishna, who is so kind, beautiful, and merciful, protect us." When angry Indra sent torrents of rain, accompanied by showers of ice blocks and high wind, he immediately took compassion upon us and saved us and our families, cows, and valuable possessions by picking up the Govardhan hill, just as a child picks up a mushroom. He saved us so wonderfully. May he continue to glance mercifully over us and our cows. May we live peacefully under the protection of wonderful Krishna. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 26th chapter of Krishna, a wonderful Krishna.
Right. Very appropriately named chapter. So what could you take out from this paragraph? Anyone?
Hare Krishna, that Krishna is most wonderful, beautiful, and merciful, and our protector. So we should always have faith in him and serve him.
Yeah. You can see how their faith and love in Krishna grew, their attraction to Krishna grew because of all these wonderful qualities. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Anyone else? I was thinking how it finishes nicely with this is like a kind of prayer, isn't it? They're just, let Krishna, who is so kind and beautiful, merciful, may we live peacefully under the protection of wonderful Krishna. It's like a prayer they're making, and a statement, an offering. Sometimes we just feel like we have to pray when we're in need, isn't it? But this is like a prayer out of gratitude that, even afterwards, Krishna, thank you so much. You've enhanced our relationship so much more. So this is why Krishna has this type of relationships with the devotees, you see, because that gratitude's there, Krishna could have, kept Indra at bay long ago, isn't it? Krishna, just by blinking his eyes, could have finished Indra, of course. But the whole pastime unfolded because that gratitude was already there. And then immediately they took shelter of Krishna. And then even afterwards, they're appreciating Krishna more. So I was just thinking in that way. how the gratitude is there. So it's a nice lesson for us that we should have that gratitude as well. Not that we just go to God when we need help, when we need support, when we need something. But actually, if we see in the right way, then Krishna will protect us in. Then Krishna will, become very dear to us as well. Very endearing quality, gratitude.
Yeah, earlier on, it was said that Krishna may be Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in this paragraph is clear that their doubts are all clear.
Yeah, that's right. They don't want anyone else to protect them. They've got Krishna, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're fixed in that. Yeah. So this is all happening because of the arrangement of Yogamaya. Yeah. That that they most of us, we've forgotten that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. We've forgotten our relationship with him. To know that Krishna is the Supreme Lord means to know that we have a relationship with Krishna as our Lord, as our best friend, as our lover, as our master. Yeah. So that's what it means to know that Krishna is the Lord. It means to know that we have a relationship with him. So they have that relationship already because they're Vrajavasis, they're living in Vrindavan. Yeah. So they're not under the same influence of this forgetfulness, this material illusion that we are under, Mahamaya. They're under the influence of Yogamaya and they're forgetting Krishna as the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So our philosophy, our Krishna consciousness philosophy, is very unique, very different to other faiths because we understand that when you forget the Lord, you're lost. You have to remember him again. And when you remember him, you get lost in that love. That you forget he's the Supreme Lord. You just simply are so attracted to him that you cannot understand. So this is like the level of their devotion. So all of the Brajbasis, we see in these pastimes how they're shining, that shining devotion, that shining quality of pure love comes through. We read about it from the gopis, Mother Yashoda and the other gopis. We heard about it from the gopas, yeah? All the coward boyfriends of Krishna who were playing with him every day. Now we're hearing it from the elder gopas, yeah? And then soon we'll hear about it from the girlfriends of Krishna, the younger gopis as well. So they all have that shining, pure devotion. So should we move on to the next chapter now? And Smita Mataji can begin reading for us.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Chapter 27, Prayers by Indra, the King of Heaven. When Krishna saved the inhabitants of Vrindavan from the wrath of Indra by lifting Govardhan hill, a Surabhi cow from Gokul Vrindavan, as well as King Indra from the heavenly planets.
Haribol, it's a Goloka Vrindavan.
Sorry. Surabhi cow from Goloka Vrindavan, as well as King Indra from the heavenly planets, appeared before him. Indra, the king of heaven, was conscious of his offense before Krishna. Therefore, he stealthily appeared before him in a secluded place. He immediately fell down at the lotus feet of Krishna. Although his own crown was dazzling like sunshine, Indra knew about the exalted position of Krishna, because Krishna is the master of Indra. But he could not believe that Krishna could not come down and live in Vrindavan among the coward men. When Krishna defied the authority of Indra, Indra became angry because he thought that he was all in all within his universe and that no one was as powerful as he. But after this incident, his false puffed up prestige was destroyed. Being conscious of his subordinate position, he appeared before Krishna with folded hands and began to offer the following prayers.
Right. So this is an introduction to this chapter, the prayers by Indra. Yeah? So we can understand now that these are going to be the prayers of Indra, which are coming. And this first paragraph is basically the events that have happened through the eyes of Indra, isn't it? His experience, yeah, what's just happened. So with this Govardhan pastime, it actually spans many, many chapters, right? Starting from where were we? Chapter 24. Yeah, and now we're on chapter 27. Yeah, so it spans many chapters. Probably one of the bigger pastimes, one of the bigger single pastimes. You know, individual. So there's a little bit of a background to this story as well. Would you like to hear about how this Surabi cow came about?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay, we'll try and retell it. I'm not very good at the details, but I'll have a go. So Indra knew he'd done the wrong thing, of course, because he's a very pious person. You can't be Indra just like that, right? Just by chance. Yeah, he was actually one of the greatest devas, and he made a great mistake because of his pride. Yeah, he kind of got used to being the king of heaven, such to the extent he didn't recognize Krishna's position. Yeah, so his forgetfulness is different to the forgetfulness of the Gopas who we just spoke about. Yeah, he was influenced by Mahamaya. Yeah, by the material nature because of his pride. So acknowledging this, after Krishna saved everyone by picking up the Govardhan hill, he had to go and figure out a way to get himself out of this hole he's dug for himself. Yeah. So his guru's name is Brihaspati. Yeah, he's the guru of all of the devas. He just looks at him with disgust, like, "You really done it now, you know." And Indra is like, "What do I do? How can I, fix this?" And Brihaspati's like, "I don't know. I don't know. You got to go to Brahma for this one. This is just beyond me." So Indra has to go from Swargaloka, where he lives. Swargaloka is like halfway up the universe. Yeah, it's a very opulent place. When people generally talk about heaven, that's what they're speaking about. Swarga, it's so materially opulent. Yeah, super opulent place. As opulent as it gets in the material world. And then when you start going higher, it becomes more sattvic. It becomes more pure-hearted. Yeah, there's a lot of rishis and that kind of prajapatis. Those type of personalities, higher personalities, who are more into meditation and austerity and mysticism. They're in the higher planets. So what was I saying? So his guru tells him, Brihaspati tells him, like, there's nothing I can do. You got to go and see Lord Brahma. And Brahma, he's way up the top of the universe. So Indra actually has to go all the way to the top of the universe to find Brahma. Yeah. And then he asks Brahma, "What shall I do?" And Brahma's like, "I thought I made a big mistake. You've done, you're worse than me." What did Brahma do? Does anyone remember?
Did he when all the Gopas and Krishna and Balram, they were in the one of the one, and is that the one the pastime happened when basically he kidnapped all the Gopas for a whole year?
Yeah. So Brahma thought, I thought I made a really horrible mistake, but not like you, right? I stole all Krishna's friends. right? Those were so dear to Krishna. He stole them away. But he went away for a moment and came back and realized, right? And then like he tried to rectify his mistake. And Krishna bewildered him by showing him all these Narayan Murtis, Krishna Murtis. So that's another pastime which we obviously had done a few weeks ago. And but he's saying, Indra, when Krishna, you know, didn't give you offerings, you attacked all his friends. You attacked the whole of Vrindavan, everyone. That's really bad. He goes, even I can't help you. So even Brahma couldn't help Krishna. Sorry, even Brahma couldn't help Indra. Yeah. So that's why this this paragraph opens with. So Indra had to go to. He had to get a Surabi cow from Goloka Vrindavan. He had to go to the spiritual world and get a Surabi cow. Yeah. So he managed to get Surabi cow from Golok Vrindavan. Why? Because it said that the cows are so dear to Krishna that if the cow makes a plea on your behalf, then your success is guaranteed. So no one could do it for him. Huh? Not Brihaspati, not Brahma. He needed a resident of the spiritual world. Not any resident, but the resident of the spiritual world. Of Goloka, of the planet of the cows. He needed a Surabi cow to do it for him. Yeah. So this is what's happening. So he's having to go with a Surabi cow in a secluded place. Yeah. He had to do it in secret as well. Huh? And he had to go in secret and pray to Krishna for forgiveness. So these are going to be some extraordinary prayers now, right? Because Indra's already gone through all of this just to get to this stage now. Yeah. He's going to beg Krishna for forgiveness. And this is very instructive for us. Yeah. Because actually, the Supreme Lord, he saves Indra time and time again. You know, anytime he's in trouble, Krishna is there for him. Yeah. Personally, physically, face to face, in all his different avatars. He so many times comes to save Indra, isn't it? Right? Every little fight that Indra gets into, and Krishna has to come, you know. So Vamandev, yeah, he was born as Indra's brother, even. Yeah. Then Kurma, you know, he's there because Indra wants to defeat Bali. So anyways, a lot of examples of Indra and being saved by Krishna. So this is important for us because we've completely forgotten Krishna. We're not able to invoke, at least me, I'm not able to invoke Krishna in a moment like that. So we need to have the same mood as Indra. It's very important for us to have this mood that Indra is having in his prayers now. So I just wanted to kind of set the scene a little bit before we read on. So there's a lot we can gain from these prayers. Because sometimes it's very easy to be dismissive, like, Indra is so crazy, how could he do that? You know, very easy to be dismissive. But no, even great personalities, you know, they can fall down. Even King Bharat, you know, he was a pure devotee. And then he became attracted to a deer. And then, you know, had to go to birth after birth again before he went back to Godhead. You know, such a pure-hearted soul as well. So anyway, I don't want to labor the point too much as I usually do. I'm sure you want to read the pastimes more. So let's get into it. Is there anyone else who would like to read? Have any volunteers?
I can read if you want.
Yes, please. We'd love to hear you read, Mataji.
Okay. My dear Lord, Indra said, being puffed up by my false prestige, I thought that you had offended me by not allowing the cowherd man to perform Indra Yagya. And I thought that you wanted to enjoy the offerings that were arranged for the sacrifice. I thought that in the name of Govardhan sacrifice, you were taking my share of profit, and therefore I mistook your position. Now, by your grace, I can understand that you are the Supreme Lord, the personality of Godhead, and that you are transcendental to all material qualities. Your transcendental position is Vishuddha Sattva, which is above the platform of the material mode of goodness, and your transcendental abode is beyond the disturbance of the material qualities. Your name, fame, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes are beyond this material nature, and they are never disturbed by the three material modes. Your abode is accessible only for one who undergoes severe austerities and penances and becomes completely freed from the onslaught of material qualities like passion and ignorance. If someone thinks that when you enter within the material world, you accept the modes of material nature, he is mistaken. The waves of the material qualities are never able to touch you, and you certainly do not accept them when you are present within this world. Your lordship is never conditioned by the law of material nature.
So, so one reflection I had on reading this with you all is that Indra he's comparing himself to Krishna now in the right way, you know. He's realizing who he is, and he's realizing who Krishna is. He's re-establishing his relationship to Krishna. Yeah, he's realizing his mistake. He's saying, I was a really puffed up, proud king. Yeah, and he's saying, Krishna, you are completely transcendental. You know, you're not influenced by any negative qualities. Everything you do is perfect. Huh? So the point that stood out for me here is that he says, I thought that in the name of a Govardhan sacrifice, you were taking my share of profit, and therefore I mistook your position. This is kind of the essence I felt of this whole prayer, you know? He's kind of coming in with this opening thing. Yeah? In the name of the Govardhan sacrifice, you were taking my share of profit. And therefore I mistook your position. So Krishna consciousness is very much about putting Krishna in the center. Yeah. And as soon as we forget to keep Krishna in the center of our lives, you know, our spirituality is basically doomed. Yeah. Because we can very easily make a mistake that Krishna has done something which is not for my benefit. If we ever think Krishna is doing something which is not for my benefit, then we misunderstood Krishna. Therefore, I mistook your position. So why do we mistake the position of Krishna? Why do we forget that Krishna is actually in the center? Why do we forget that Krishna is our well-wisher? From this sentence, what is the mentality that makes us forget Krishna?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, is it our false ego?
Yeah.
And we always think that it's all it's always I do it, I done it, kind of, rather than giving credit to Krishna, because you got this ability and whatever you have is not, how do I put it? It's not, it's been given by Krishna, and keeping Krishna, Krishna in the center. I don't know. Then you always, I'm lost now for the words. Maybe someone can help me with that.
Does anyone else like to add to that? Well, please, if you can add to what Shamrani Mataji is saying. So she's saying how being in the center is what makes us forget Krishna.
Krishna, keeping Krishna in the center, meaning everything we're doing is for Krishna. Everything we got, like our intelligence, who given us intelligence to do anything? It's Krishna. We said, I did it, but you didn't do it. It's a Krishna gave you intelligence. And sometimes you say, oh, I did that, but who sent? Because you just get puffed up that I'm good devotee, I have this position, so you came and helped me, and that. But no one helps us, because if we keep Krishna in the middle, Krishna does help his devotee. He takes so many forms, to go and help his devotee. It's like that. So everything is given by Krishna. We are nothing actually without Krishna. It's just like, this body without the soul is nothing. So if this body doesn't have soul and super soul, we are nothing, because once the soul goes out and super soul leaves this body, material body, nobody wants to know him. Otherwise we say, oh, he's my best friend, he's my mother, he's my... So many relations comes with this body, but as soon as the soul and super soul leaves this body, that nobody wants to know that body. When can we get it out? When is the funeral? When's, So Krishna, we keep Krishna in the center, that Krishna is the one who is doing, he's helping, he's my well-wisher, it's my everything. Then the life, we don't think, get that pride, and our false ego doesn't rise. Then Krishna loves us as well, that, yeah, you're doing for me. Maybe doesn't matter how little, like, today I was listening about the Ramayana, and when they were building the bridge, and the monkeys and Hanuman, and they all were lifting so big, even I think hills and mountains. Big stones and mountains, and that little spider and the spider went out. Spider thought, I can help little bit. They all are doing. I'm not doing any service. And he just was picking up little sand and then going and putting into water, picking the sand from the ocean, and then putting between the stones, because stones wouldn't stay. If you see even laying down the stones on the house building, if you just put the bricks down, it's not going to hold it. You need the plaster between it. So spider was doing that, and then the squirrel saw that. So squirrel was doing the same thing, going into the water, coming out of the water, and just rolling in the sand and taking that sand, and then shivering on between the stone. And the monkeys, and they all say, you're coming in our way. We don't know we're doing service for Lord Ram. So then Lord Ram said, call Hanuman and the others, and they say, everybody does the service according to their ability. So never think anybody's lower than you, that you are doing big service. So that's the lesson we have to learn, that, everybody's got different ability, and we doing capacity, ability, intelligence. So everybody's doing according to that, but where it came from, Krishna. So Krishna doesn't say the quantity, he sees the quality of work. So thank you. I thought I'd share this.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for sharing. Wonderful.
Wow. What more can we say? Such a complete answer. I love it when you guys share your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nice meditation for Ram Navami tomorrow as well, huh?
Yeah.
Perfectly fit that in, everything in one package. Yeah. I read something yesterday, which I was just reminded by you both. And you know, sometimes you read something again and again and again, but just one day it just randomly kind of just clicks, you know? I was reading yesterday how Krishna, he's the cause and the effect. And we've heard this like a lot of times before, you know, but just in this particular context, it made sense. Everything comes from Krishna. He's the cause, like Mataji said, he's the cause of the intelligence, he's the cause of all the good qualities. And he's the effect. He can give you all the good qualities, but he doesn't have to give you the right outcome. You may not get it your way, even if you have everything in place. On the other hand, you may not have any of the right qualities, you know. Sometimes we just hobble through and, you know, everything works out. Krishna, you made it all work out. But we should acknowledge in both ways, Krishna is the cause and the effect. Krishna gives everything and he also gives the result. So Indra forgot this because he had this profiting mentality, he had this pride mentality, this proud mentality. I'm the cause and whatever comes out of it is my profit, it's all for me. So this is a really key realization in this whole chapter. And we'll go through that in more and more detail as we go on, okay? So thank you again for another wonderful Krishna book reading. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So we'll be back on Thursday for Gauranga book reading. I trust you have all got the Gauranga book now. Is that right? For Thursday? Has everyone got their book by now, I guess?
Yeah, I have.
I
Okay.
have.
I'm
Okay.
really missing to read with that, but I can't come on Thursday. So
Oh, we're going to miss you too.
yeah,
we
because
have
I
to
have
have a
my
program.
mentee meeting, so I can't change that.
Oh, it's on Thursday, yeah?
Yeah, on Thursday, because I've got two groups, one on Monday and one on Thursday. So those 2 days I'm
Wow.
fit.
Oh, no.
But I'll get my book tomorrow, so I'll read it. We'll read. Me and
Yeah.
brother will read it.
Send us some ideas and tips so we can carry on Thursdays.
Oh, we need it as well. It's nice to read in a group rather than reading yourself. It's really easier. Really.
Yeah, I definitely experienced that too.
One day.
Hare
again.
Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna, Jai Prakash Prabhu. Take care. See you next
I
week.
can't join. I've got a Bhagavatam class on Thursday, so.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We're going to chant japa now. If I can find my japa beads. Fasting for that day. And at the Bhaktivedanta Manor, they're doing a festival online on Sunday as well. So you can watch the dramas and things on Sunday online. Okay. Anyone else have announcements to make? No? Okay then. Have a lovely evening. Hare Krishna. Have a good week ahead.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.